backseat, and nowadays the word for that is whatever. Anyhow. وَيَهْدِيَكُمْ سُنَنَ الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ. So the first thing Allah intends, He wants to clarify for us. The second thing He intends is He wants to make sure we understand what happened to people before us, so we don't make those mistakes. What's the third thing He wants for us? He says, وَيَتُوبَ عَلَيْكُمْ. He says He wants to turn back towards you. In other words, He wants you to make tawbah so He can turn back towards you. He's just waiting for you to welcome. He wants to welcome you, but He can't welcome you until you turn around. Tawbah literally in Arabic, you know what it means? To turn around. And Allah wants to turn back to you, but He can't turn back to you until you turn back to Him. You turn back to Allah. You have to turn back to Allah. You have to make a decision. I am returning to Allah. I am no longer going to disobey Him. I am no longer going to disregard Him in my life. I'm no longer going to avoid what I know to be true. I'm going to avoid it anyway. I don't want to think about it. My urges, my temptations took over me, and I did whatever I wanted to do, or I said whatever I wanted to say, or I went wherever I wanted to go, even though I'll feel bad later, but at that moment, I don't want to hear any advice. I'm just going to do what my temptations tell me to do. I'm not going to be that person anymore. I'm going to turn back to Allah. وَيَتُوبَ عَلَيْكُمْ. He wants you to turn back towards you. وَاللَّهُ عَلِيمٌ حَكِيمٌ. And Allah is knowledgeable. Allah knows whether or not the instructions were clear to you. Allah also knows whether you understood what happened to the people before you. You know, you could be a 16-year-old kid who's heard the story of Salih alayhi salam or Nuh alayhi salam at Sunday school half asleep 10 times in the last 5 years. Every week the story of Nuh. Okay, I know they died in a flood, I got it. But on Judgment Day, when Allah Azza wa Jalla comes before you, and you know the questioning begins, and the angels start asking, so how come you disobeyed? You didn't know about Nuh and the people of Nuh? You'll say, oh yeah, snap, I did. So Allah knows you know. Allah knows. Wallahu alim. Wallahu alim. And what He's giving you is full of wisdom. Wallahu alimun hakim. Then He says, Wallahu yuridu an yatuba alaykum. It is Allah who wants to turn back towards you, not you. Allah is the first one who wants to turn back towards you. You know, sometimes we start thinking it is we who initiate the tawbah. Allah makes sure we understand, no, Allah initiates the tawbah. Even in the tawbah, the first tawbah that was made was of Adam alayhi salam. Isn't that true? The first tawbah made was of Adam alayhi salam. And even Adam alayhi salam didn't know how to make tawbah. So Allah gave him the words and said, here, say this and I'll accept your tawbah. He didn't even know what to say. So Allah gave him words. فَتَلَقَّى آدَمُ مِنْ رَبِّهِ كَلِمَاتٍ فَتَابَ عَلَيْهِ. He gave Adam, here's the words you say, now once you say them, I'll let you go. In other words, he didn't come up with words himself. Allah gave him those. So who started the process? Adam alayhi salam or Allah Azza wa Jalla? Allah Azza wa Jalla. Allah is the one who's starting it. Get that right. It's not you, it's coming from Allah. Allah has already taken the first step. You know why Allah told us this? Very important. Because people who sin give up on Allah. People who sin, they say, Allah is already good. Man, I'm messed up, man. I was even partying in Ramadan. You don't know. I can't even blame Shaitan now. It's all me. You know? I'm so far messed up, there's no hope with me and Allah. Allah has already turned away from me. No, Allah says Allah hasn't. Allah's doors are open to you. The only one who's turned away is you. لا تقنطوا من رحمة الله. Don't you lose hope in Allah's mercy. You're not allowed to lose hope in Allah's mercy. Ash-Shawkani rahimahullah about that ayah says it's haram to lose hope in Allah's mercy. It would be an act of kufr, of disbelief, to lose hope in Allah's mercy. You cannot say, man, I'm messed up. Man, bro, I know your speech was about, being hopeful. Man, I'm bad. I'm real bad. I've done some really bad things, bro. You don't know. And some people, they take pride in that. Oh, I'm so messed up. It's like, yo, I can't even talk about it. It's bad. Okay, it's bad. Is it bigger? Your sins are piled up like a mountain? Is the weight of those sins greater than the mercy of Allah? No, so it's not bad enough. The door is still open. You can't convince yourself that the door to Allah's mercy is closed. The only one who convinced himself that the door to Tawbah is closed is who? Shaitan. وَلَا تَتَّبِعُوا خُطُوَاتِ الشَّيْطَانِ. Don't follow the footsteps of Shaitan. وَاللَّهُ يُرِيدُ أَن يَتُوبَ عَلَيْكُمْ وَيُرِيدُ الَّذِينَ يَتَّبِعُونَ الشَّهَوَاتِ أَن تَمِيلُوا مَيْلًا عَظِيمًا. Amazing, powerful statement Allah made. Allah says, it is Allah who wants to turn back towards you, but those who want to follow they're strong desires. And shahwa is strong and empty. In other words, you fulfill it and you're like, why was I going so crazy after that? So before you get it, you're going crazy. As soon as you get it, you're like, what was the big deal about that? I wonder what I should do now. You ever seen people who want to go see a new movie that comes out? You know, they make lines like the passport for Hajj outside the movie theater. You know, right? I gotta see it opening night. Or this new video game comes out and you go very, very quickly to all the indie money you're going to get. You go to GameStop and you put the deposit for the release date that's coming for whatever video game. Grand Theft Auto, straight to hell. Because you gotta have it. And then you play it for a couple of hours, you make the entire Qiyamul Layl finishing the game. And then when you're done, you're like, it was okay. It's alright. After you get it, you're like, what was the big deal? So Allah says, those who want to fulfill their empty desires. Empty meaning they're never happy. After they get it, they're like, what next? So what do we do now? I'm bored. You know, they're never satisfied. He says, these people, you know what they want? They want أَن تَمِيلُوا مَيْلًا عَظِيمًا, that you go far, 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 far off. That's what they want. On the one hand, Allah wants you to turn back, and those who follow their desires want you to keep going miles and miles and miles. They want you to keep going further and further and further away. A huge distance. You know what this means? That means either you will make tawbah, or you will do sins and more sins and more sins and more sins, and you'll just keep going further and further into sins. So you've got two kinds of invitations. Invitation from Allah to accept His tawbah, and invitation from your buddies who want you to go further into sins. وَيُرِيدُ الَّذِينَ يَتَّبِعُونَ الشَّهَوَاتِ أَن تَمِيلُوا مَيْلًا عَظِيمًا. And then finally, the most beautiful intention of Allah. What does Allah want? This is probably the most powerful ayah on that subject. To me, my favorite ayah about what Allah wants. He says, يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ أَن يُخَفِّفَ عَنْكُمْ. Allah wants to lighten your burden for you. Allah wants to take the load off of you. In other words, you know how you say at work, if you have a lot of work, you say, I'm under a lot of pressure? You ever heard that expression, I'm under a lot of pressure? You ever heard people say, man, I'm buried under work? It's just piling up and I'm just buried. You ever heard that? Right? In other words, there's a huge load on you. When things are expected from you, things are getting heavy on you. How's work? It's heavy, man. Or this semester is heavy. You ever heard that? You know? It's coming down on me. I'm just being crushed under work. Now Allah says, Allah intends to lighten your burden. You know, these ayat came after a long list of ayat on inheritance laws. And inheritance laws in Islam are pretty intricate and precise and complex. And at the end of all of that, Allah says, by the way, Allah wants to lighten your burden. In other words, you do what you want, or you do what Allah wants. But if you do what Allah wants, your life will become easier. It will become lighter. But if you do what you want, your life will become harder. And you know what's crazy? People think in their head, if I do what Allah wants, life will be hard. And if I do what I want, life will be easy. That's why they do what they want. They don't want to do what Allah wants, because they say, man, that's too hard. I mean, I'm Muslim, but I'm not Muslim. You know? Because that's hard. You know? Or have you ever heard the term, oh, are you a strict Muslim? Have you heard that term? In other words, people think if you observe Islam, that must mean you are strict or difficult, hardcore. I've heard hardcore Muslim. Right? Now, all of these terms, what do they imply? It seems to suggest whoever tries to follow Islam is putting themselves in difficulty. And whoever is not following Islam is putting themselves in ease. That's what it seems to apply. But Allah says, when I give you commands, one of the purposes of those commands is to make your burden lighter. Take the load off. When you obey me, your life will become easier. And when you disobey me, your life will become harder. You are only harming yourself by disobeying Allah. I'm only harming myself. I can't harm Allah. Even the Israelites, as obnoxious as they were, they couldn't wrong us, Allah says. They only used to wrong themselves. They were axing their own foot. They weren't hurting anybody else except their own selves. Now let me give you an example of this. I'm going to give you two very simple examples, one for the elders, one for the youth. Okay? So I'll start with the elders. So you have two options for getting your daughter married. You have the option of doing a simple wedding in accordance with the beautiful sunnah of Allah's Messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You can have the nikah performed in the masjid, give a simple meal, everybody's blessings are being sent upon the bride and the groom, and everything is being done in accordance with this beautiful tradition that was started by our Messenger himself, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Because nikah itself, the marriage itself, is an act of worship, right? And nikah min sunnati, nikah is from my sunnah. So you can do that. Here's option B. You can rent a hall on your credit card, which you're going to make payments on for 2 years. And you can hire a DJ because your uncle's, your cousin's wedding had a DJ too, and how can you not have it? Of course, we have to show our face. And you have to have music blasting, no matter how shameless it is. And you have to have 18 different kinds of meals, even though people fill their plate like they're trying to compare their mountain to the mountain next to them. And they eat like 2 bites from that, and they're like, I'm done. And most of that food gets thrown away. You want to do that? You want to get into debt because you want to go all out because your friends, the other friends, their party was better. So you want to make sure yours competes with theirs, right? And so you put yourself in this financial difficulty, and the gathering itself is inappropriate. Nobody would look at that gathering and say, that is worship right there. Nobody would say that, even though nikah is an act of what? It's an act of worship. You have these two options in front of you, and when somebody says, why don't you do this a little bit more, Islamically? You mean strictly? Come on, marriage is a happy time. Why do you want me to be so strict? We're just trying to have a good time in the family. What do you think we're all, kafir? I think many of you have heard that before, right? And so you say this is going to make life easy, but does it make life easy really? Families are fighting with each other. Everybody's stressed out. The guy who's about to get married has lost more hair in one day than he did in the last 25 years. All because you're overdoing it. And there's no barakah in it. And people are angry at each other. And when the time to discuss, I've seen this with my own eyes. 2 minutes before the nikah contract, now they start talking about the mahar. Are you insane? And then there's about to be a fist fight is about to break out. Like, we're being swindled or whatever. And everybody's frowning. This craziness in exorbitant amounts of mahar. And then, subhanAllah, if you study the statistics of Muslims in this country and their marriages, 2/3 of them are failing within the first year. That's insane. You know how many divorces are happening? And the amount of money that was spent to perform one failed nikah was enough to get an entire village married. The entire village. To feed entire, starving nations, a single meal. And you do that, all of this, you say, no, because we want to be happy. But no, you yourself aren't happy. Look at your face during the wedding. And look at what you have to put up with. And the kinds of feuds you have to get into, and the financial troubles, and then the riba on top of that. But on the other hand, you have a simple nikah. Everything is done, there's no headaches. Everybody's happy. It's all, and the only one you had to fear was Allah. But you know why people do the harder kind? Because they don't fear Allah, but they fear. What's your uncle going to say? What's your aunt going to say? What's the neighbor's going to say? So what if they say something? Will that hurt you? Is that like cause cracks in the house foundation? Let them say what they say. You don't even know what you can do whatever you want. They still say really nasty things about you anyway. You should get that in your head. Okay? None of your family likes you. They all say really bad things about you. So if you're just worried about what they say, you should be suicidal already. Because they don't like you. Okay? And that's the other thing, this culture of open ghiba and stuff. But that was an example of the elders putting themselves in difficulty. Nobody else. They themselves putting themselves in difficulty. Here's an example of the youth. And I'll just come out and say it. I don't have to beat around the bush with this. A lot of our youth are dating. That's a reality. Young boys and girls in this community, in Dallas, I'm not talking about some other crazy, kafir land, over here. Right? In our community, there are boys and girls that have relationships outside of marriage. Some just limited to texting each other or Facebooking each other or, sending an email once in a while about how beautiful you are, this or that. Some a little worse, some a lot worse. But they have these relationships. And when you tell them about the restrictions of Islam, they say, I don't want to be so hard on myself. I don't want to make my life difficult. What's the big deal anyway? And you know what the big deal is? What this does to you, just to give you some glimpse of what dating does to people. Now, I'm not talking about the permissibility and impermissibility. Like I said,